had home gardeners in mind when I set this up. Although I wasn't trying to be everything to everyone, but it turns out that it's good for professionals too. Like I did professional landscaping for 10 years before I knew most of this stuff, and I sure wish I had known it earlier. I would have done a lot of things differently. So it ends up being pretty good for professionals, but I kind of had home gardeners in mind, and I certainly do start with the basics in the academy. I get a little bit advanced on some stuff though, and I do get into some science, but all I want to do the science so I can show you why we're doing what we're doing. So really I try to be really practical. Now here is my little bit of my lime. So I talked about how the lime has to come in. I'm not going to use all this, just a touch, just to get a little bit of that calcium in there. There's my cousin. And a little bit of rock dust here. That's good for now. And now I'm going to at least single dig this in with a fork. You know, it's so useful to have a fork. I have different kinds. This one just happened to be close by. And I'm just gonna single dig it in. I think I'll double dig it in when I turn the camera off. So I'll do this all off camera, but I really want to incorporate that compost, that rock dust, that lime right into the top, you know, at least 12 inches of soil, probably deeper if I double dig. And then I'm going to come back around and put a good edge on this again. And I'll show you that when it's done so we can go to the final step. So I'll be right back. So you can see I've incorporated my compost and my fertilizers in here. And, you know, when you're done incorporating that stuff, the soil should go back to looking kind of drab compared to, you know, when you put that nice black compost on top, it looks so beautiful and you're like, oh, I wish I could leave it on top. But really, if you do a good job incorporating it, it goes back to looking like the old soil because you want that compost to get down in there. And you can see I've taken my spade here and I've put an edge back on the bed, you know, like this, gone along, taking the soil back up. The soil really gets fluffed up when you double dig like that. Really builds up and it'll slowly settle. And now my next step here, my final step, and the second organic matter component I was talking about is to mulch this. And there are, you know, I love leaves for mulching. I don't have any leaves because it's not quite leaf falling time. So the next best thing is straw. And it's not the most beautiful mulch, but I've been using it this year as a kind of a temporary mulch because it really is beneficial, especially it's nice to have in the vegetable garden here and it kind of works there. And of course, in the Smiling Gardener Academy, I discuss all the different kinds of mulches and the benefits and disadvantages and all that. And speaking of discuss, the one thing I love about the Academy is that every lesson that we have in there, if there's something if you have a question about it, there's a place right below where you can ask a question. Or if someone else has asked a question and you think you have something to contribute, you can answer the question there. And that's why I'm pretty excited to hopefully get some people in there who've done a little bit of gardening too to help out. And of course, I will answer lots of questions in there. And if you've ever emailed me before, you may have noticed, I probably emailed you back. I try to answer most emails, but I can't answer them in much detail because, you know, I'm pretty busy and I get a lot of emails and I can't answer them in much detail. So you may have noticed it was kind of short. In the Academy, you get more access to me. I really answer your questions. And I'm even hoping once this thing gets taking off that I can get some of my really knowledgeable gardening friends to come in, you know, associates, people I've taught with and worked with to help answer questions and really make it a vibrant community in there. I'm even going to make it so you can upload photos of your garden kind of before and after and during. And, you know, when we're all uploading photos and content and asking and answering questions, I think it's going to be a really amazing part of the Academy because we'll just have all this knowledge coming in there. I think it's going to be really cool. So this mulching here, You know, some people would do it after they plant. I like to do it before I plant. And you can kind of figure out what works best for you, but it can be difficult to put mulch around existing plants. It's kind of finicky, whereas this, it's just plop it on and it's pretty easy to plant in there. So I'll get this all looking nice now, and then I will go on to the next video.